Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to study a very important concept in CSS, that is CSS Flexbox layout, or as you know it, Flexbox. Okay, so if you guys are new to my channel, for more amazing videos like this, make sure you subscribe and like this video. Let's get started. So first of all, what is Flexbox? So a Flexbox is officially called as the Flexible Box Layout module. The main reason why we have Flexbox is because of its ability to modify the height and width of all the children element that we have inside the container and to fill in all the available space in all screen sizes. So what do I mean by all screen sizes? So now you're using a website on your laptop, but then you also have to use it on your phone. So your website should adapt, the elements that you have should adapt to all screen sizes. So that is where Flexbox was more helpful. And before using Flexbox, we had to use float or different positioning properties, which would usually get complicated. But now with Flexbox, it is much easier to design a responsive, flexible layout. So Flexbox is mainly constituted of two parts. First is a parent container, which is known as the Flex container, and the second, then we have the children known as Flex items. What all of these are, we'll see in the next slides. So next question arises is, why should you use Flexbox? What's good in it for you? So with using Flexbox, we don't have to use float or other positioning properties. You can position your elements using Flexbox. The website that is made by using Flexbox is more responsive and mobile friendly than websites that are not made using Flexbox. And positioning the child elements that we have is much easier as compared to position properties such as relative, absolute, and then using float for positioning, which is a big misuse because you should never use float for positioning your elements. Designing becomes much easier and also looks great, and elements can be arranged in any order without changing the structure of our HTML. That is, now if you want to move one element from one place to another place, you have to make changes to your HTML also to display it in certain order, such as you have unordered list, so you have to display it in certain order. But using Flexbox, you can change the order of the child elements. You can arrange the child elements wherever you want. Okay, now what is a Flex container? So the box that you are seeing right now, I've marked it with an arrow. The box that you see is called as Flex container or a parent, and the items that we have inside, it can be any number of items. For example, I've shown 3 items. Those are the children of the Flex container, so they are called as Flex items. Okay, so these are the two parts in which our Flexbox is divided. So for the first one, parent container, Flex container, and the second one we have is children item or Flex items. So you have to keep that in mind. Now let's move to our code editor. Now we have opened up our code editor, and now this code, that whatever I have written here, now it has been divided in the way that we are going to see through this crash course on Flexbox. First, we have this Flexbox, a folder where I have just 2 files, and here we are going to see how we can actually implement or start implementing Flexbox. Second one that we have is for all of the parent container that we have called as Flex container and all the properties that we have inside the Flex container. The third one that we have are for the child element. The properties that we have for child element are inside here. Now this is a completely written source code. So not completely, I mean the styles part is not done, because that is what we're going to do in this video, but the HTML part is already done, and all of the boxes or whatever that you will see throughout this video, basic styling has been applied. Okay, not advanced styling, nothing that you don't know already has not been done. Everything that you already know has been written out. So as you move through this course, and if you feel that you require the source code, make sure you mention it in the comment section. If many people mention that they want the source code, then I'll create a group on Telegram and I'll share my source code with you guys, so even you guys can practice according to what I have done. Now without wasting any time, let's get started. So in the first folder, we have index.html, and then we have the style sheet. Now style sheet, you can see, now in the first part in this folder, I'm going to create everything from the scratch so that I'll show you guys how it's done. but from the next folder onwards you can see that my elements are already pre-styled, because it would save us a lot of time. And if I start writing each and everything one by one, it will be a very long video and I could not explain you the main important concepts that I'll explain you in this video. Okay, so let's get started. So first what we'll do is we'll create a parent container. Before that we'll give a heading, let's say h1, and okay, flexbox layout. Now let's create a div and let's give it a class of container. Okay, now inside this container what we'll do is we'll add a few divs. Let's add a div called box over here. Okay, and write one here. Again we'll add two more such of these. Okay, we added 3. Now let's add 2 more. Let's add 5 blocks. Okay, this is the second one, third, fourth, fifth. Let's save it. Now let's open it up in our browser. Let's see how it looks. So this is what it looks currently. Let's open it up in a new window and let's split screen. Okay, so now I type the code and you can see the changes right on the left side. Right, now I'll save it. Now style sheet is already linked, so let's move to our style sheet. Now what we have to do is, see, I've created this container. So this container is a parent. This holds all of this other boxes that we have, box class, that is all the children elements. Okay, so first we'll style this container. So we'll go into style sheet and first let's remove all of the pre-styled things that we have. So like margin and padding, we'll make it 0, and this is so that we don't have any pre-styled elements. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, now let's target the container. So it will be dot and the name of the class. So first of all let's apply it a background color. Let's give it a background color. So let's the background color be black. Now you can see the background color is black. Let's give it a max height of 500 pixels. Okay, and now let's change okay, now let it be like this. Now let's target the boxes first. I want to show you one more thing. So let's call the box. This is for all the div that we have right here. This is the same class. The box class is there for all the 5 divs that we have. Okay, here you can see now it is not visible because of the same color, but those are there. So now let's try and apply a height to this div so that we can notice them. So we'll go into block. Let's add first height and width. So width of 100 pixels, and even let's add a height of 100 pixels. Let's save it. Okay, now let's change the background color to white. So we can either use background color property or we can even use background property. It does the same thing. Now you can see the background is white. Now let's add a little bit of margin. Let's say 2 rem. Okay, now this is the block. Now because we have applied max height of 500 pixels, it won't go beyond 500 pixels. So let's make it 100 VH. Yo, now it works. 100 VH is the viewport height that we have. So now all the boxes are visible, and we can even remove this. Let's see what happens when we remove this. It does any change, does it? So we'll just increase it. Let's make it 1200 px so it covers our entire screen. Okay, now let's remove max height. Let's keep it height. Yeah, now it is 1200 px and now it is looking good. Okay, so these are our elements before we applied any flexbox to it. These are the normal divs that I have created without applying any flexbox to it. Now if you want to apply flexbox, the first thing that you have to do is go to the parent element. Now this black box that we have, this is our parent element and this is inside this container. Okay, now to use flexbox, the first line that you have to do is write display flex. Now as soon as I save this, you can see my elements have changed. For some reason now they are not in a column, they are stacked in a row now. Okay, you can see it is one after the other. And if I remove this display flex again and I save it, now you can see it is again in a column. Again, if I paste it again, you can see it has changed. So to use flexbox, this is the line that you need to add to the parent element. And as we made changes to the parent element, the changes are applied to the, we made changes to the container and the changes were applied to the box. So we made changes to this div, that is a parent, and the changes were applied here. Now the two more properties that we commonly use are, the first one is align items, and here we use center. So you can see now whatever height we have, so we have 1200 pixels of height, so it moved to 600 px. If you guys were to check it out, you can just inspect and check what height it is at. So it is at 600 px. Okay, and the next one that we're going to use here is called as justify content. What these are, we're going to see as we move forward. So now you can see it is exactly at the center. These children elements are sitting exactly at the center of our web page, horizontally and vertically. Okay, so these are the few properties that you apply so that you can start using flexbox. These are the three properties that most commonly which is used. You have to just keep in mind that first one, other two of them we are going to see along with the other properties that we have. Okay, so now this is the code, and I'll just leave it here so that I can share it with you guys. And now we saw how to use flexbox. Now moving forward, now we're going to see the properties of our flex items, or sorry, flex containers or parents. Okay, so now first property that we have is called as flex direction. Okay, let's open this folder. Okay, so now what I've written here, again I'll open this with live server. So this is what I've done. Again we have those simple background, then we have boxes with height and width and color given to them. That's all that I've done. Let's show you the code. So you can see a parent, a h1, a parent div, a id, so that we can apply different property values to it, a div inside it. Okay, this is HTML, pretty simple. Now going to CSS. Again, body, we have given a margin, padding, a margin, border and padding, everything is 0. Font family is given, we have given font sizes to h1, h2, we have aligned it to center. Then we have color, container, background color, we have display, we have max height, and the properties that the two we saw was align items and justify content. Okay, then again to the box that we have background color, border radius, width, height, and this flex grow. So what this flex grow is, we'll cover it, and then simple margin. So only two properties that you don't know are align items, justify content, and flex grow. Other everything you know. We also studied this display flex. So now what we will see, this is the code that I've written for every folder that we have here. Okay, so it's pretty simple code. Now what we're going to see is what this property means and what it does for us. So for the first property, flex direction, it defines in which direction the container wants to stack elements or items. They can be laid out in two directions, either horizontally or vertically. Now earlier we saw how our flexbox reacts when we add display flex to it. So this flex direction property also does the same thing whenever we want to change the direction. Now let's see here. Now if it is in row and I want to change it to column, I can do that by using this flex direction property. Now how can I do that? So let's go to our code, and here you can see for every h1 that is there, I've added an id. So special id is given row and row reverse. These are the name of the values of the property that is flex direction. Okay, so it's easy for you guys to understand when you go through this source code. So now going here, first we have row. So let's add display flex has been added to our container. We only have to add it to our parent element. We don't have to go and adding it to all of our elements. Once it's done, it's done. Now the next property that we're going to see is flex direction. And the first property here, you can see the id is row, so we'll add row here and we'll save it. Let's see if there's any change in our browser. Just a second. Here you can see there is no change in our browser, no change at all. Okay, there is no change in our browser at all. The browser window remains the same. Okay, now let's add here we'll go here and we'll add flex direction and we'll add row reverse. And once as I save it, you can see now this is in row 1 2 3 4 5, but this is reverse now 5 4 3 2 1. So this is what row reverse does. I told you we can change orders without changing the HTML structure. This is how you can do it. Now it is in reverse order. Okay, now moving on to column, we have again flex direction of column and we'll save it. Now you can see now it is in column. Now it is not in row anymore, it is stacked like this in a column. And now the last one that we have here, the last value for flex direction is called as column reverse. Now it will again be a column, but every value will be in reverse. So you can see 5 4 3 2 1. So flex direction just tells us or helps us to place our elements in whichever direction we want. It can either be horizontally or vertically. Okay, the elements can stack in increasing order or you can even stack it in reverse order. So now moving to the next property, we have flex wrap. So this is kind of an important property now. Again, the same code, I'll just open it up with the browser. Okay. Now this is flex wrap. You can see same thing is here, background color, a few blocks, a few divs, and then written the name of the property and its value. So here we have three values: wrap, no wrap, and wrap reverse. So what is flex wrap? So flex wrap property defines if the flex item should wrap or not. By default, all the items will try to fit in one line, but you can change that accordingly to what you want by using the flex wrap property. What does this mean? So let me just show you an example. Now I've made it full screen. Now I've made it half screen. Now let me just go to the mobile screen size. You can see these elements are sticking together. Now if you're using a website on your phone, do you want equally spaced, nice looking elements, or you want a few elements that are sticking together? Nobody wants this, right? So this is where flex wrap property is used. Now here what we'll do is, again we'll go to our CSS. Again the same code is there, and here you can see display flex is applied to a parent. So we'll just go in this ID which is given to every div, okay, of the every parent that we have. So it is wrap here. So what we'll do is flex wrap and the value will be wrap. So let's save it. Do you see any change? No change, right? Not yet, and actually. So again we'll minimize it, and now watch carefully. Once I do this, okay, so now let me reduce the screen size. Now you can see once it reaches a value, what it does is it shifts on the next line, making your website responsive. You can even control when you want this to shift to the next line. Okay, so this is what flex wrap does. It helps you create a responsive website. So when these elements start sticking too much, you can compare it, this two of them and then this one. When it starts sticking too much, what it does, it moves the element to the next line. All right, now the next one that we have is flex wrap of no wrap. Again, the way it suggests, it does not wrap. Let me just show you. If I reduce it and close it, nothing happens because it does not wrap our elements anymore. This is the default value we have for every child element. Okay, no wrap is the default value. And now the last value that we have is flex wrap of wrap reverse. Let's save it. You can see the difference. Reverse means it does the same thing that the first property does, but in reverse. Okay, now when it moves to a certain height, what the first one does is it moves to 1 2 3 4 5. But the last one, wrap reverse, what it does it, 5 will be first and then the other 4 elements. So these are the three values that we have for flex wrap property. So this one is a property, and the next part that we have here is the value. So these were the three values that we have for flex wrap. Okay, moving on now. The next property that we have is called as flex flow. Now flex flow is nothing different. Flex flow is a shorthand property that we use to display our flex wrap and flex direction property in one. Now if you guys want to use flex wrap and flex direction what you will do, you will go here and you will write it like this: flex direction row, and then write flex wrap wrap. So instead of this, what you can do is you can write flex row. First property will have the value, first we'll have the value of flex direction property, that is row, and then we'll have the value of flex wrap property, that is wrap. So now this is what I've written for the first one. Now let's minimize the screen, and here you can see after a certain size, it will do the same thing that we had. It will move to the next line because we have wrap written over here and we have arranged them in a row. Now again, let's just copy this, paste it here. Here instead of row, we add row reverse. We'll save it. Here you can see now it has been reversed. The order has been reversed. Now here instead of row, we'll have column. So it will be arranged in column, and in column actually a wrap property does not work that much, because once you go, no one minimizes the screen like this, right? Everyone just does it. Even in phones, the screen size is adjusted like this. No one decreases this size, so it does not does much. But you can also try changing it. It might change, it might work if you guys want to do that. And the last one that we have is column reverse. Okay, again it will be reversed, but in it will be in column but in reverse direction. So this is what flex flow. It is a shorthand property for both flex direction and flex wrap. Okay, now moving on to the next one. Next one we have is justify content. This one we already saw. Okay, and again let's open it up in a browser. You can see I have already written out the code. Still it is such a hectic work to shift from here and there and then explain it to you guys. So that is why I have just pre-styled these elements. Okay, so it is easier than writing everything again and again and just directly understanding them. Now again, we saw this center property when we created this first Flexbox folder. We saw justify content property. Okay, so now we'll understand deeply what this justify content actually means. So the justify content property is used to align flex items. So these are our flex items. You can see these orange boxes. These are our flex items, and justify content is used to align them. Okay, it also helps distribute extra free space left over when all the flex items online are inflexible or are flexible but have reached their maximum size. And this alignment takes place horizontally, not vertically, just horizontally. So now again you can see with the heading, these are the values that we have for justify items property. Okay, so first one we have here, justify content. Justify content, and we have the value here, that is flex start. So if you see here, it does not does much change because this is the default value. Our elements or our items always start from the first or from here, from the start, always begins from the start. Again, then we'll add justify content of flex end. We'll save it. Now you can see it changed. It does not start from the start anymore. It does not begin from the start. It begins from the end. Okay. Then we saw this property, justify content of center. We already saw this. Okay. You can see elements or our children elements are based in the center and only horizontally, not vertically. Keep in mind this only works horizontally. Then the next one, I'll just copy this. We have a space around. Now these three are kind of the important ones. You can see now we have space around every element. The space is not evenly distributed, but we have space around every element. Next one, space between. Now we'll have space between all the three elements. First will be at the top. The first element will start from the start. Then we'll have space. The second one will be in the middle, and the third one will be in the end. So we have space between these three elements. The last one that we have is space evenly. So this space evenly, what it will do is it will add equal spaces after and before each and every element. So now space around was just adding space after and before every element, but it was not equal. But space evenly has before and after has equal space. Okay, so these are the 5 or 6 properties values that we have for justify content property. Okay, so that was it. It was very easy. It is just used to arrange your elements in an horizontal line or horizontal axis. Moving on to the next one, we have align items. Okay, and it is also similar to justify content, and we also have seen this one also. So now you can see normal styling, and here we have 3 properties are same: flex start, flex end, center, and the 2 properties that we have at the end are different. Okay, so align item property is used to align flex items. It also helps distribute the free extra space as we did for justify content. And but the one thing to keep in mind is alignment takes place vertically. In justify content it took place horizontally, but in align items it takes place vertically. Now let's see what we mean by this. So again, go to our CSS. Here we'll add align items, and here we'll write flex start. So you can see now it has decreased in size, and now it is in at the start of this. Here you can see like this here. Now let's go here. We let it flex end here. So now vertically it will go to the end. In justify content, you can see here it moves horizontally only on the left and right, not top and bottom. But now in align items it is moving top and bottom, not left and right. So here flex start means at the center but starting of the parent. Flex end means at the end of the parent. Okay, in top and bottom approach. Then we have align items center. Again it will center the elements vertically, not horizontally. Here you can see center, it does it only vertically in flex justify content, but in align items we have it exactly at the center vertically. These are the things to remember. Vertically I am focusing on them again and again because it is very important. The fourth one that we have is baseline. So what baseline does is it equals all of the bases. All the elements will be on one baseline. You can see here the baseline is same, even when this element is bigger than the 2 of them, they share the same base. Okay, and the last property that we have is align items, which is stretch. Now once I apply this property, there won't be any change at all because this is the default property. Every property that we are going to see, every property has a default value. Okay, and I have mentioned the default value whenever we are going through any of this property. So for align items we have stretch as the default value. That's it. These are the properties for align items. Moving on to the last property that we have for flex container, which is align content. Okay, these and align items are different, and we'll see how much. So let's open it up. Now properties, again we know flex start what it does, we know flex end what it does, we know center, we know space between, space around, and stretch. So we just go and we'll see what it does. Okay, now what is align content? Align content is used to align flex items in single line. Okay, this property aligns the flex container's lines with the flex container when there is extra space across the cross axis. Went over your head. Let's see what it does when we write this property. Okay, so we'll go here, we'll write align content, and the first property that we have is flex start. So let's see. You can see all of these elements, they were in stretch because the default value is stretch. Here also in align items also it is stretch, align content also it is stretch. Now it moved not just single line but multiple lines, because we don't have just single line of these elements, we have multiple lines, we have 2 lines. So it moved both the lines up at the start of the parent container. Again we'll add it here, let's call it flex end. We'll save it. Now again multiple lines to the end of the parent container. At the center we'll add center over here. Again it will move it to the center, exact center. Okay, Again, it also works only vertically, not horizontally. Now, next property we have is space between. After that, we have space around. And the last and the default property that we have is stretch. Okay. So this is what space between two lines. Okay. Space around both of lines. Not equal space, but there is space around both the lines. And then stretch, which is our default value. Okay. So this was all the properties that we saw for our parent container, that is flex container. Flex direction to show which direction we want to move, flex wrap so that we have a responsive design, flex flow, which is a shorthand for both the two property that we saw, justify content to align items horizontally, align items vertically, align content to align these elements vertically, but not just single line but in multiple lines along the cross axes. Okay. Now let's start with our child elements, that is flex items. So we'll close this, and the first one that we have is very simple. It is just normal order, and we spoke about this earlier, how we can change the order. So in this we are not going to see CSS, because we can even do it without CSS and we don't have to go on writing CSS. So what we'll go is, we'll go inside this div, first one here, and I'll write the style attribute. We'll just add inline style. Here I'll write order and give it an. Now, if you are a guy who's studying computer engineering or programming for a long time, you know that whenever we are programming, nothing starts from 1. Everything starts from 0. So even if I have written 1 here, this position, when it is stored anywhere, it will have a value of 0, index of 0. So this will be 0, then we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1 will be at 0th position, 2 will be at 1st position, 3 will be at 2nd position, and 4 will be at the 3rd position. So many people don't know this. If you guys are beginners, so this is the thing to keep in mind, that whenever we program, our indexes start from 0. So anything you write will start from 0 and then move forward. 0, 1, 2, 3. So here we have elements from 0 to 3. So here I've written 1. So now I want this 1 to be on the 3rd place. So what order will I have to give here? What do I have to pass here? It will be 0, 1 and 2. If I pass 2 here, then 1 will go on the 3rd position. Now the code breaks because we have not defined order for all the other elements. Now let me just show you. Even if I add style here now, and I'll add order property here, and let me just add orders and save it, you'll see that it does not work in the way we want it to, because we have not applied property to all the style to all the elements. So we have to apply it to all the elements so that it will show correctly, because if we add it to only one element, it will not know where to place other 3 elements. Okay, so I'll just add these few properties and then we'll have changed the order. Now save it. Now you can see I wanted 1 on the 3rd place, so we have 1 on the 3rd place. I wanted 2 on the 1st place, so we have 2 on the 1st place, 0 and 1. I wanted 3 on the 1st place, that is 0, and I wanted 4 on the last place, that is 3. So I can also interchange 3 and 4 now. Let's do 0 here and 3 here. Let's save it. Now you can see 4 and 3 are interchanged. I can even interchange 1 and 2. Instead of 2, I'll write 1 here and I'll write 2 here. Done. I interchange 1 and 2. So pretty simple order property. I hope you guys understood it. Moving on to the next property that we have in our flex items is flex grow and flex shrink. Now guys, this is very important. Flex grow and flex shrink is a very important property. So let's open it up in a browser. Just a second. Okay, now it has opened up. So let's see. This is flex grow and flex shrink. So now what is flex grow? These are two properties. Flex grow and flex shrink are two properties, but I've made them one because it is very easier. I've made it in one file only because it is easier to understand that way. So flex grow property specifies how much item will grow with respect to the relative or the other flex items. What it means, we'll see. You cannot put a negative value here. Okay, it has to be between 0 and then whatever is valid. Then if you put flex grow for this first item, and if you put flex grow as 2, it will grow 2 times with respect to both of these elements. Okay, if all the items have flex grow set to 1, the remaining space in the container will be distributed equally among all the children. So all of them have equal values, a flex grow of 1, then the remaining space will be distributed equally between them. And if one children has the value of 2, the remaining space would be this, the children that has value 2 will take up all the remaining space. So we'll see what it means. Just hold on. Before that, we'll understand what is flex shrink. So it is the complete opposite of flex grow. Grow means getting bigger, shrink means losing its size. Okay, so it specifies how much item will shrink with respect to the relative other flex items. Here also you cannot put negative number. By default, all the items are shrunk so that every item can take equal amount of space. All the items do not have a grow property, but all the items have a shrink property or a shrink value of 1, so that each and every element can take up equal space. And so the default value here is 1. So now let's understand what we have here. Let's go here. Now here you can see we have a different classes added here. This is top side, this one, then this one is also top side, then this is top center, then middle side, middle side, middle center. Then on the last one we have bottom side, bottom side, bottom center. So this is what we have over here also, and all the three, this is like a box. In the previous ones we had a box here, but here we have top, middle and bottom, because this is a little bit complicated, so I have written it like this. Now the first property that we saw, flex grow, let's add 1 here and let's refresh. For some reason my live server is not working right now. So you can see here, as soon as I added flex grow of 1, it takes up more space than this 2, because this does not have a flex grow value. The flex grow value for top center is 0 right now. But if I add a flex grow here also, let's say flex grow of 1, now you can see all the 3 elements will take up equal space. That is how responsive flex grow is. Earlier it was taking up, these 2 were bigger than 2, but as soon as I added flex grow 1 over here, it takes up equal space now. Now what happens if I add flex shrink of 1 here? If I refresh, there will be no change, because the default value for flex shrink is 1. So what happens when I add a flex grow of flex shrink of 2 here? Let's see, no change, because here flex grow is 1. So I'll remove this, I'll refresh it again. You can see. Okay, now moving on to top center, what we'll do here is let's add flex grow property of 1 here, and let's leave it like that. So now all of the 3 will have equal space. Okay, now coming to the middle section, what we'll do is we'll remove this flex shrink. You know, flex shrink has 1 value, so we'll do it 0 here. Let's see what happens. Nothing happens. Okay, let's refresh. Yeah, now moving to the middle center, what we'll do here is we'll add flex grow of 1. Okay, refresh. Now it takes up more space than the other 2 elements. For the bottom side, we'll add a flex grow of 1. Let's add it here. And at the bottom center, we'll add flex grow of 2, and let's add flex shrink of 2 as well. Let's refresh. Let's see what happens. So now at the bottom center, you can see this one. It takes up twice the space as both of them, and the shrink value is also 2. So you can try experimenting it. I've put them together. You can try removing the shrink value. You can try adding the shrink value. What happens, what will not happen. You can just play around it with it, because till the time you don't play around with it, you won't understand how this flex grow and shrink actually works. Okay, now I hope you guys have understood. If you have not, make sure you mention it in the comment section. Moving on to the next one, we have flex basis. Okay, let's open it with the live server. Now what is flex basis? So flex basis property specifies the initial length of a flex item. It can be any length. You can use percentage, rem, pixels, etc. It accepts height and width. It can also be a keyword such as auto. So what is flex basis? Let's go into the style sheet and let's understand what it is. So again, we have the same. We have grow here, we have shrink here. This works in combination with flex grow and flex shrink. Okay, so grow side means 1 and 3, grow center means 2, shrink side means 1 and 3, shrink center means 2. So we'll go here and we'll add a flex basis. Let's go flex basis of let's say 50px. So now you can see this works. The size has been decreased. Okay, now let's add a flex grow of let's say 1. Let's save it. Now you can see again it has changed. Okay, so we add a flex basis and then we added flex grow of 1. So it specifies the initial length of flex item. That is what it does, right? So this is the flex side. So once we add 50px, it will be the initial length of that item will be 50px only. Okay, now going to the grow center, what we'll do is we'll increase the size even more than 2 elements and let's see what happens. Let's make it 3 now. Let's save it. Now you can see this one is way more bigger than this 2 ones. Way more bigger than both of them, because that is what we saw. Like in the previous one, we saw what grow and shrink does. So now here let's add a flex basis property of 350px. Let's see what happens. So you can see now that initial length has been changed and now it is 350px. The initial length is 350px and the second one has shrunk. Let's remove this. Let's see what happens. Equal size. As soon as we add flex basis, it grows without even adding flex grow, because its initial size increases and this decreases automatically. So what we'll do here is, again we'll add flex shrink. Let's add flex shrink of 3. Now it retains a little bit of its size. And in the center one, that is this one, what we'll do is we'll add let's say flex shrink of 2 and flex basis so that its initial length increases of 100px. Now let's save it. So here you can see now. Let's try adding it. Let's just a second. Let's try increasing it. Let's see what happens when we do 300 pixels here also. Now you can see it has equal length. What if we do 200? So it will get a little bit bigger. So you can try playing around with it. 400px, it grows. So you can use it in combination with flex grow and flex shrink. So this is what flex basis property does. Moving on to the next property that we have, which is just called as flex. Now don't be confused between this and display flex. Display flex is a different property. Display is a different property and this flex property is completely different property. Okay, let's see now. So what this flex property does is, it is again a shorthand property for 3 values: flex grow, flex shrink and flex basis. So this property does not have any meaning in itself. It is thus a shorthand property that we can use for using 3 commands in one, that is flex grow, flex shrink and flex basis. We saw a first shorthand property over here, that is flex flow, where we use 2 properties in this one property. Okay, so now let's see what flex, how we can use flex. So again we have these 3 boxes. For some reason they are not visible because the width is gone from here. Let's add a width of 100px. Yeah, now it is visible. See, sometimes even I make mistakes. So yeah, now what we'll do is, the last 2 properties that we use here are optional because we have to use it in line, such as flex grow, flex shrink and then flex basis. You can just use any of the one or you can even change it. It is recommended to use this shorthand because it says other values intelligently and also saves our time because we don't have to write each and every property. So if I add a flex grow of 1 to this top side, it will automatically detect what property needs to be here. It is that intelligent. It is said that it is supposed to be that intelligent. So it automatically detects what value should be applied when you only applied it to one element. So let's see. We'll add flex grow first. Let's give it 2. Now the size has increased. Now let's see what happens when we also add flex shrink. Let's add it a flex shrink of 2, flex shrink 2, and then we'll add flex basis property. So let's add flex basis, and let's add a flex basis of 100 px here. Yeah, so this is what top side is. Now let's go to top center. Now again I'll just copy this. So this is what you had to add. This is what you had to add when you had to add these 3 properties. But to do our work easier, we can just use flex, write 2, 2, and write 100 px. That's it. Does the same work. You can see it. Does the same work than writing this. This and this means the same. Okay. Now again to the top center, what we'll do is flex, and then we'll write 1, 3, and let's write 50 px over here. That's it. Work is done. Okay. Now to the bottom, again we'll add flex. Let's add 1, 2, and 60 px. Let's save it. You can see its initial length increases even more. Alright, because we did not add a value of grow 2, you can see it is even more bigger. Now let's add the center one. So we'll have flex, and then we'll add 2, 1, and let's say 100 px. Now you can see it increases in size. So this is how you can use flex to write 3 properties in just single line. Again, you can try playing around with it. Until and unless you play with it, you won't understand how it actually works. Okay, so this is up to you now, that you play around with this code, all of these flex grow and shrink, flex basis, and flex. Once you start using them regularly, you will understand how it works and what it actually does. Now the last property, that is align self. Let's open it. Again, we have studied all of these properties earlier: flex start, flex end, center, baseline, and stretch. So what is the difference between align items, align content, and align self? So the align self property specifies the alignment of selected item inside the container. Okay, it overrides the default alignment set by container alignment properties. So if you have any property in align items or align content, align self will override it, and it will work individually with every element. Okay, so now let's see how it works. We'll go here, we'll add align self, and we'll add flex start. You can see now it will be at the start. Again, we'll go here, align self, and we'll add flex end. We'll go center, sorry, align self, and we'll add center. Okay, let's just add these values and see if it works. We'll add baseline, and the last one that we have is stretch. That is the default value. Sorry, the default value we have here is auto, not stretch. So we'll add stretch here, and in align self we have default value of auto. Okay, so we made a mistake. Actually, I made a mistake. This will not work like this. So if I just remove all of this, and now we have, you can see here, 3 different divs name with left, center, and right. So according to its name, align self works with individual, as I said. So here I'll call the left class, and I'll add align self, and I'll write center. Now if I save it, you can see here, given the space that is had between these 2 elements, it put itself in the center. Okay, and if I change it to, let's say, flex end, you can see it moves to the end. Then if I move it to the flex start, it moves to the start. Then the next property that we had was A1, we had stretch, we had baseline. So we'll add stretch. Let's see what happens. It will take up the entire size. which also is the same with auto. Okay, and then we had baseline. Okay, so this is the baseline one now because it moves to the flex start. So again, you can try adding it to all three ones, that is left, center and right. Okay, so yeah, I made a mistake actually. All of these values, you can see now it changes. So I should have written it a better way, but now you guys get a gist of what actually this property does. So you can move around single elements. You can also move around multiple elements. Okay, using this align self properties. So it actually overrides the properties that we have already written for, that is using flex items and flex containers. Now we saw each and every property in detail. We covered everything as much as we could in this one single video so that you guys can understand. First, we saw how we can start using Flexbox. That is by using this line display flex. Okay, that's it. And we saw flex direction properties and how we can add direction to it using this flex direction property and the 4 values. Then we add flex wrap, flex throw, justify content, align items, align content. Then we completed the flex container, that is parent elements properties, and then we started with children elements, that is order, flex grow and shrink to increase and decrease the size, then flex basis to provide an initial length and using it in combination with grow and shrink. Then we use flex, which is a shorthand for all the 3 properties that we covered, and then align self. Okay, so if you guys have learned anything at all, if you guys have any doubts regarding this video, make sure you mention in the comment section. If you guys want the source code that I have written, make sure you mention it in the comment section. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and motivate me to make more amazing videos like this. If you guys have any suggestion regarding to this video, make sure you mention it in the comment section so that I can improve myself and bring better videos for you. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video.